This guy takes a superhuman strength test and casually lifts a 400-pound barbell. He does it just with one hand while using only 1% of his power. The girl conducting the test is completely stunned. She's seen thousands of awakeners try to lift it, but she's never seen anyone do it so easily before. Yet it's nothing for Lim, who, after getting his results, just heads out to grab some lunch, hoping for a quiet meal. But yeah, that's not happening. The moment his test results are revealed, the leaders of every major guild go crazy trying to find him first. They rush over one after another, throwing out insane offers and promising him mountains of money if he joins their guild. But Lim brushes all of them off like they're nothing, because he's waiting for one particular girl who will give him the most valuable offer. How does he know that? Well, he's a regressor. After 2 decades of battling extra-dimensional monsters and protecting the world, Lim Day-in is finally ready to retire and enjoy a peaceful life. However, the morning after his retirement party, he wakes up to find himself back in time before he even gained his powers. When Lim opened his eyes the next morning, he wasn't in his nice house. Instead, he found himself lying in the small student dorm room he had lived in 20 years ago. He panicked and picked up his phone nearby, and when he saw the date on the screen, he froze. It said the year was 2018. He threw the phone at the wall in frustration and shouted, "This has to be a joke. Lim can't understand why this is happening." Just yesterday, he started a comfortable life. Now he's back in the past, before the injury that ruins his knee, before the monsters, before he becomes a hero. He screams in frustration, asking himself over and over what went wrong. But then something strange catches his eye. On his wrist is the rare watch his friend Zhang Cheol gives him as a gift. In a flashback, Lim remembers Zhang Cheol telling him the watch might be a relic from the legendary mage of the Byron continent. Does the watch have something to do with this, Lim wonders. He recalls studying the watch before falling asleep the night before. He thinks maybe that's the reason he is brought back. Just then, loud banging shakes the door. An aggressive voice shouts from the other side, demanding to know why there's so much noise. The voice belongs to the annoying son of the dormitory owner. Known for throwing loud karaoke and booze parties every night, this guy often acts like he owns the place. He even demands money from Lim before he can get out of bed. As the door opens, the dorm owner's son looks annoyed and asks what takes so long. Lim smiles calmly while sizing him up. The bully wears an expensive jacket made from monster leather. He complains about the noise, claiming it's affecting his mental health. Then, pretending to be generous, he offers to forget the whole thing if Lim gives him money, especially the rare watch. But Lim isn't going to let that happen. He slaps the bully's hand away, then delivers a sharp slap to his face, causing a nosebleed. Lim grabs his head and knees him in the face. The years of bullying flash through his mind. This is payback, even if it isn't enough. Lim spares him and says it's time to move out. Back in 2018, Lim remembers a key event, an accident at the construction site that injures his knee, causing him pain for the rest of his life. But now his knee is fine. This second chance means everything. It's time to get serious. After controlling mana for 20 years, Lim feels confident about adjusting to this body. Still, his muscles are weak, and he hasn't been eating well. Hunger hits hard. Looking around, everything is still under construction. That's when it becomes clear why no one notices a lesser gate opening nearby. Monsters emerge, catching everyone off guard and causing many deaths. Suddenly, a portal opens right in front of him. People scream and run in panic. A red, speckled, dog-like monster bursts out from the gate, sharp fangs ready to attack. Amid the chaos, a small girl is surrounded by wolves, screaming for her father. Lim rushes in, pulls her out, and shields her with his body. He tells her to run while he faces the wolves. He grabs a nearby claw hammer and fights back. His first strike causes a wolf to cry out. Another wolf charges from the side, but Lim reacts quickly with a low swing to its jaw, knocking it back. Lim fights fiercely. Another blow launches a wolf several meters away, but hunger returns, making things more difficult. Jokingly, he suggests the wolves look delicious, remembering the taste of their meat from his previous life. The wolves hesitate in fear. Though his younger body is weaker, it has no knee pain, allowing him to move quickly. He dodges an attack and delivers a powerful overhead kick, but the wolves keep coming. Lim realizes a single hammer won't be enough. He then uses the watch like brass knuckles and punches a wolf. It remains unharmed. That's when he realizes how incredibly strong the watch is. He looks around and sees about 10 wolves still remaining. Just in time, the police arrive and take control of the situation. Lim feels relieved. However, his jacket is torn during the fight, which annoys him. A man comes up to thank Lim for saving the girl and others. He asks for Lim's name and workplace to send a reward. Lim replies that he has no job and hasn't even registered as a superhuman yet. He has only just awakened a few hours ago. The man takes his phone number instead and thanks him. Lim quickly leaves, saying he has other things to do. The man calls after him, wanting to interview him, but Lim disappears. Everyone begins whispering about a new awakened being, young and powerful. Later, Lim finally finds a place to eat and orders beef soup. The taste brings him joy. While eating, his phone rings. News of his battle spreads fast. In 2018, 2 years have passed since the first gate opened. Superhumans are replacing police and military forces. Guilds are rising to power, and everyone wants to recruit the strongest fighters. Lim knows what's coming. He also knows that many future superhumans will turn into criminals. Plans to handle monster appearances haven't been formed yet. Worse, the 6 major disasters are already beginning to appear. With all his knowledge of the future, Lim makes a decision. This time, he'll use everything he knows to retire in just 3 years. But not just any retirement, a peaceful, safe one. This second chance won't be wasted. Lim is sitting and enjoying it as messages keep coming in. He seems to enjoy the melody despite the distractions. Suddenly, a man comes up to him and asks if he is Lim Dean. Lim confirms it, and the man introduces himself as Kim Gilson, the manager of the ruling family's guild. Kim has watched the video of Lim defeating monsters and is impressed. He immediately wants to meet him and offer something, as long as Lim hasn't signed a contract yet. Just as Kim is about to speak, a woman enters the room. She asks if Lim is the same person from the monster fighting video. Now that she is seeing him in person, she finds him even more attractive. Right after her, someone from the Warrior Guild arrives. They mention that the interest in Lim is endless, and more people keep coming to where Lim is sitting. All of them try to recruit him to their own guilds, and it almost turns into a fight. Lim tells everyone to be quiet. He warns that if they say even one more word, he won't join anyone, no matter how much money they offer. Lim asks if they should talk somewhere else. Then, they are transported to another location. Lim states he won't take up too much of their time and asks what kind of premium they can offer for signing a contract. Kim responds that the contract has clauses that can't be disclosed. He also asks why Lim doesn't take time to listen to each offer one by one. While eating cake, Lim asks if Kim is part of the ruling family's guild. Kim proudly replies the guild has a 1.5 years of tradition. Lim wishes him a good trip home and remarks he doesn't plan to sign with them. He questions why he would join a guild with such management, and predicts that the guild will soon merge with another. Lim asks how long he should wait for the next offer. Suddenly, a kid behind Kim shouts that their guild is offering Lim 1 billion won. Other managers raise their offers, each trying to outbid the others. Lim calmly drinks his tea and thinks about how much the Black Hounds Guild would offer. He reflects on his time with them before going back in time. Someone then offers 2 billion won, saying it comes with top salary, benefits, and item mining tasks. It is the woman again, the manager of the White House Guild. The White House Guild is newly founded, but within 3 years, it will become one of the top 3 in Korea. Lim guesses this is the reason for their aggressive approach. He asks everyone except Miss Beck to leave. He tells them they can leave their business cards just in case. Now alone with Beck, she explains that on her way to meet him, she watched Lim's monster fighting video several times. She compliments his skills and points out that just yesterday he was an ordinary person. Lim is surprised by her elegant way of showing that she has done her homework on him. Bayek believes Lim is either a genius or someone with rare characteristics that give him an edge in battle. She mentions the White House Guild wants to support his growth. Lim reads through the contract and thinks about how, in his previous life, he would never have imagined getting such an offer. He asks if he can add a few conditions. Bayek watches closely as Lim writes into the contract. Suddenly, she is surprised. She exclaims Lim is joking, but Lim insists he is serious. His added terms include a 4-day workweek, a fixed end to the workday, and the right to refuse long-term tasks. Beck gets angry, thinking it is a joke, but Lim remains firm, saying those are his terms. Bayek pauses, then asks where he gets so much confidence. Lim assures her they won't regret signing him. Bayek stands up and says she will review the terms and return in a few days. She also asks if Lim prefers drinks instead of coffee next time. Lim doesn't respond. He thinks that it wouldn't benefit him to show emotion. Bayek doesn't know that her father is the head of the guild. Lim gets up and decides to register as a superhuman. He arrives at the Korean Disaster Management Center. Lim goes to the Superhuman Support Service and announces he wants to register. The girl at the desk explains the person in charge is absent and that she is new and might not be able to manage on her own. Lim mentions he is in a hurry and asks if she can do something. She agrees to try contacting her boss. Lim is sure someone will help her, as he needs to finish things quickly. The girl calls her boss and explains that a young man wants to register. She asks if Lim has any special skills. Lim replies he uses physical strength but doesn't have skills. That is a lie. No one currently believes in magic, so Lim knows they'd only find out about his powers if he shows them. But in this life, he has decided not to. The girl states they will start with a strength test. They go into a room with a barbell, and she asks him to lift it. Lim grabs it with one hand and lifts it above his head without effort. The girl is surprised. The barbell weighs 200 kilograms. She remarks he really is superhuman and apologizes for doubting him. She hands him a temporary superhuman certificate and notes they will contact him once the official one is ready. Lim thanks her and wishes her a good day. Suddenly, the head of the Superhuman Support Center, Ju Sang-woo, arrives. Lim is horrified and wants to avoid him. Nothing good has ever come from dealing with Ju Sang-woo. Lim decides to never come back here again. Ju asks if this is a new superhuman. The girl confirms it and notes it is the same Lim Dean she had mentioned. Ju realizes who she means and calls Lim a supernova. Then the scene changes to the pollution control area. This place has been abandoned due to monsters, but everything will change when the dimensional gate opens. The Gaia continent, a fantasy world of swords and magic, will open a gate to Earth within a year. In Korea, only one gate will open, and it will be right here in this zone. Lim is happy and plans to buy the place once he receives his contract bonus. He believes it will make him rich. Then he plans to sort things out and go monster hunting. Suddenly, someone shouts for others to get out or die. Lim hears a girl's voice warning the intruders not to come closer. Recognizing the language of the Gaia people, Lim realizes something is wrong and runs toward the sound. He uses his concealment skill to blend into the environment. This skill has been used in the past for dangerous missions involving espionage and assassinations. Lim doesn't want to repeat that life. As he runs, Lim wonders if the girl is being chased. He needs to see what is going on. He finds a little girl facing 3 adult men. She warns them again and tries to form a fireball, but it fails. The men find it amusing and remark they would pay her for the show. Lim guesses she is a refugee from Gaia and has been unlucky to run into these criminals. One man offers her food in exchange for surrender. Lim notices a tattoo on the man's arm. It is the mark of the Red Serpent criminal group. He knows then that they are human traffickers. With little mana left, Lim stops using concealment. He doesn't see any law enforcement nearby and decides to act. He pulls out a knife, lunges, and strikes the first man in the back. Then he quickly cuts the throats of the other 2 with smooth, silent movements. The girl is shocked. Lim coughs and asks if she is from the Gaia continent. She is surprised he speaks her language. Then her stomach growls. Lim asks if she likes meat. After a while, the girl thanks him for saving her and promises that one day she'll repay the favor. Lim curiously inquires how many servings she can eat. Fortunately, he had bought enough pork earlier. However, the girl doesn't understand what he means. Shifting the topic, Lim wonders if she crossed the dimensional gate alone. She does not give him a proper answer. He then presses to know where she had been before and where her home is, but the girl hesitates and refuses to reveal anything. Lim also tries to find out her age, but she remains silent on that too. In the end, Lim gains nothing from their conversation. They sit across from each other when the girl pleads for his help. She confesses that she knows nothing about this place, can't communicate with anyone, and barely has any energy left. She admits she can use fire but struggles to control it. Lim responds that he's busy and not suited to babysitting, emphasizing that he needs a reason to take care of her. Still, he offers her a deal. She can stay for a month. During that time, he will teach her the local language and provide her with basic knowledge. In return, she must take part in daily chores and run errands. The girl eagerly responds, asking if she really gets to stay. Lim is already beginning to worry. She introduces herself as Lily and says she hopes they get along. Her name feels strangely familiar to Lim, though he can't quite place it. As he reflects, something clicks. Lily, who can use fire. He suddenly recalls the monster that will burn down half of Seoul in 10 years. She has flame-colored hair and the power to control fire. Her name is also Lily, and she comes from the Gaia continent. Known as the Fire Witch, she is one of the 6 disasters. Lim starts to connect the dots. This girl looks exactly like the Fire Witch, like 2 drops of water. From what he remembers, the Fire Witch was kidnapped as a child by a criminal organization and groomed to become a harbinger of destruction. Now he considers the possibility that he might have a chance to stop one of the 6 disasters. After a while, Lim and Lily walk through the grocery market. Lim remarks that he'll make her a special dinner tonight. He approaches the counter and asks the vendor if they have any Predator F. After the first dimensional gate opened, a food crisis emerged, prompting people to migrate to Montina. Now, the supply of Predator F exceeds demand since people have yet to understand its value, which lies in its rich mana content, something vital for survival in the future. Seeing Lily draws sympathy from others, so they're given extra food. Lim then remarks that she needs to buy clothes and instructs her to choose from the options. Lily excitedly points to a white and red outfit, but Lim overrides her choice. He outfits her in a tracksuit instead, saying it's more suitable for walking around the dump. They end up buying several identical suits. Later, back at home, Lim notes that he has prepared Lim D's signature mana-infused dishes for dinner. Lily grimaces and asks if that's really what they're going to eat. Lim insists that healthy food usually looks unappealing. Lily sniffs it and admits it smells good. Lim pulls out the shikjang he'd saved for later but decides they can eat it now. Lily grabs a chicken leg, takes a bite, and lights up with joy. She declares it's delicious and insists that from now on, she only wants chicken. Lim warns her to eat the rest or he'll throw it in the soup as well. After tasting the soup, Lim admits it's surprisingly edible, although inwardly, he's feeling like he might die. He can't help but think that if he hadn't returned to this life, he'd be eating gourmet meals at a restaurant right now. The thought frustrates him. Lily complains that her tongue is numb, and Lim chides her for talking like that. After they finish eating, Lim gets up, instructs her to wash the dishes, and sit down to read a book. He makes it clear that he does not want to be disturbed. Lim then begins meditating using the Great Sea of Mind technique. This practice increases his magic power and enhances control. He had trained in it before returning, and now he notices his mana growing faster than expected. In the past, no matter how many calories he consumed, there were no such effects. He speculates that proper nutrition might be the missing factor. He feels his Danyan expanding and realizes that by continuing with mana-rich food and mastering this technique, he could surpass his previous strength. Eventually, he decides it's time to wrap up, but his stomach growls. Lily hears this and playfully offers him more chicken. He turns with an awkward smile. They end up eating that awful-tasting soup again. Lily screams in protest, saying she hates it. 2 days pass, and Lim reflects on his rapid progress. With his current strength, he believes he's ready to go treasure hunting. Suddenly, his phone rings. It's Bayek, who remarks that she's a bit disappointed he didn't call her first. She wonders aloud if he even cares about how she's doing. Lim, having almost forgotten about the guild, tells her he's been preoccupied. Lim asks how the contract renegotiation was going. Beck falls silent, and Lim guesses that she's facing difficulty. She confirms this, explaining that she couldn't persuade their leader. However, she adds that the head will hire him if he proves he's capable. Lim wonders if they truly intend to test him. Beck apologizes, saying she finds it ridiculous. She offers to come up with another solution if he waits a few days. But Lim immediately agrees to the test, on one condition. Lim arrives with Lily at the guild headquarters of the White House. When Beck questions who this little kid is, Lim claims Lily is his stepsister who recently returned from abroad and doesn't speak Korean well. He explains that due to unexpected circumstances, he'll need to bring her along for a while. Meanwhile, Lily is struck by Bayek's beauty, and speaking in her native tongue, wonders who she is. Lim casually mentions that she is the woman who gives them money. Lily, equating money with chicken, concludes that Bayek must be a very good person. Bayek reassures Lim that their guild doesn't interfere in the personal lives of its members. Soon, they're greeted by the White House Guild's head, Chang-Su. He explains that they had planned to visit Lim first but were delayed due to business. Lim responds cheerfully, comparing his arrival to a field trip. Chang-Su then brings up the added clause Lim proposed, to double the contract if he passes the test, and confirms that Lim is ready. Suddenly, a massive energy presence fills the area. Chang-Su questions if Lim is really worth such a sum. Lim senses that Chan, despite appearing untrained in martial arts or magic, emits overwhelming mana. Lim thinks to himself that a monster is a monster, no matter the disguise. Still, he refuses to be intimidated. He releases his own mana and forms a protective sphere around himself, asserting that he will prove his worth. Chang-Su promptly instructs Bayek to rewrite the contract. They decide not just to double, but triple the original offer, and add a bonus clause. Lim will receive 20 billion won if he passes. Shocked, Lim recalls he was initially offered only 2 billion. He comments that Chang-Su must be quite hot-tempered, and declares that he's ready to start the test immediately. They are transported to the White House's underground training ground. Chang-Su explains that the test will be considered a pass if Lim defeats 3 guild members. Since this isn't a fight to the death, no one is to go too far. Lim is then introduced to his first opponent, Hwan Jang-hyuk. Despite his young age, he is a member of the First Guild Association. Beck wonders what weapon Lim will choose. Lim responds that only his watch is sufficient. Jang is annoyed at Lim's arrogance and thinks Lim has just awakened and still dares to fight only using this mere watch. However, the match is signaled to begin. Jang starts running at high speed around Lim. The hero can't quite understand the technique at first. He recalls reading about Jang in a magazine. Ken's skill lies in speed. He grows faster the longer he keeps moving without pause. Lim quickly realizes he needs to strike before Jang becomes untouchable. As Jang circles him rapidly, viewers begin to doubt Lim's chances. Beck looks on with concern. Jang prepares to end it, swinging his sword, but Lim notices. Understanding that the moment someone lets their guard down is the moment they can be beaten, Lim intercepts and knocks Jang down with a well-timed strike. Observing the outcome, Lim concludes that Ken's own speed worked against him. Lily cheers for his victory, while Bayek and Chang-Su stand stunned. Lim turns calmly and wonders aloud who's next. Chang-Su praises Lim for his impressive performance. Lim checks on Zhang's condition, and Chang-Su reassures him that Zhang's life is not in danger, as doctors will take care of him. After a couple of days of rest, he will recover. Chang-Su acknowledges Lim's ability to keep his power in check, but Lim wonders if he truly believes that. Meanwhile, Lim reflects on the consequences of losing control, knowing that if he hadn't controlled his force, his opponent's head would have flown off. Lim realizes that he is now guaranteed $6 billion under the contract, having met the set requirements. He shifts his attention to the 2 remaining opponents and suggests making the test more enjoyable. Lily notices Lim's smile and questions its meaning. Lim becomes serious, asserting that a fighter must always be in command of the situation. The second sparring venue is an artificial forest training ground. Bank explains that the White House has 2 associations, each consisting of 6 teams with 5 members. The next opponent is Yang Dae-hoon, the head of the 6th team in the first association. As the main tank of the White House, he is known as the Bull. He expresses his anticipation for a good fight, while Lim recalls that the Bull is among those who radiate an instinct to kill him. As the match begins, the bell rings, and Lim immediately charges at Yang Dae-hoon, aiming a strike at the clock. Yang Dae-hoon successfully blocks the attack with his shield and counters with a sword strike, which Lim narrowly dodges. Seizing an opening, Lim maneuvers behind him and executes Falcon's Claws, making Yang Dae-hoon wonder if Lim had trained in martial arts before awakening.